South Carolina police arrested 9 teens after a 16-year-old was found shot and killed earlier this summer. It comes as crimes involving juvenile offenders rise across the nation. South Carolina Attorney General and gubernatorial candidate Alan Wilson joins us now. Attorney General, thanks so much for joining us.
It's great to be with you, Lawrence. Thanks for having me.
So obviously this was a tragic situation involving teens in your state. But Mr. Attorney General, this is happening all across the country. What's causing this?
This particular story is a tragic and sad example of what we're seeing statistically across the country, that there's been a spike in teen-on-teen violence. And not just teen-on-teen violence, but teen violence in general. And it's a very alarming thing. We've met with the FBI on several movements like the 764 Gore movement, which teens are recruiting other teams to perform violent and gory acts against themselves and other people, including suicide on social media websites. We're seeing gangs recruit kids as young as 10 years old because they're sophisticated enterprises and they know that these children can't be incarcerated as long when they're caught by police officers. So, I mean, this is something that I'm very concerned about.
So, Mr. Attorney General, when we look at the numbers, I mean, it just tells the story. The aggravated assaults are up almost. When you look at the homicides, 121 in 2024. In 2023, it was 122. Robbery in 2024 was 553. And then for 2023, it was 556. These are FBI statistics. So it's not just the murders, it's the robberies, it's the assaults. There needs to be discipline, not only when it comes in the households, but also in our criminal justice system, right?
Let me pause this number really quick. I just want to look over this real fast. You know we do this live, man. We do this live, man. It's your boy Angelo Savage. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, man. So this is South Carolina homicides versus the year before. It's damn near the same. Aggravated assaults, almost, 100 off. Homicides, 1 off. 3 off. So involving 10 to 19-year-olds in South Carolina. Yeah. Let's keep going.
Absolutely, Lawrence. And obviously what we're seeing the president do in Washington, D.C. is a great example of what we can do. Robust, aggressive policing in communities where crime is at an all-time high. We need to have a police presence. We need to have police that are supported by their local officials, that are adequately staffed, adequately funded, adequately resourced. We need to have pro-law enforcement policies. This would act as a deterrent to the crime from even ever happening in that community. But we need to get behind our law enforcement. That's what the people in our communities want us to do. And I'm glad to see President Trump doing that in our nation's capital.
You know, Mr. Attorney General, I used to work in juvenile court, so I support programs to help these young people turn their lives around. But it seems like the focus is more on that than the punishment as well. So there has to be consequences for their actions, and then we can talk about the programs to rehabilitate them after that. But it seems like there's so many DAs now that allow these kids back on the street, and so they never turn away from their violent tendencies.
You're absolutely right.
Now, before he add that, let's be honest, bro. Come on, let's have an honest conversation real quick. Before we talk about consequences and talking about rehabilitation, let's get back to the nitty-gritty, man. Let's blame who's at fault? The parents. Yes, either their I would say their lack of discipline in their children while they were young is the reason why they call them YNs now, right? Like, think about it. These kids ain't nothing from, 10 to 19 years old. I mean, the people that had these kids should be around the range about, they probably had these kids young too. So let's just give or take almost 40 years old. So they still 36, 30, because I know I got a 36-year-old at work. She got a 15-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So people are getting pregnant early, raising kids, not disciplining them kids. Them kids become degenerates in society, committing crime with each other. And then the system has to take control and discipline these children next. That's the problem initially. Before I like to blame the consequences, I would like to get to the nitty-gritty of where this all came from. This all come from the household. You know what I'm saying? In certain communities, may I add, because in other communities, things like this don't happen as frequently, right? where juveniles are killing each other. You know what I'm saying? Committing robbery, aggravated assault on individuals, because they know the crime is lessening. I like what, I'm not sure what they're getting at. Like I don't know if they want to do more juvenile centers, more crime. The guy on the left, he definitely wants more crime, more consequence to the crime, and I'm for that. And if you know Angelo Savage, I'm for the death penalty, man. And I'm be honest, they should change the age for certain crime because since the youngins are doing more adult crimes, you got to change the age to a lesser age because at the end of the day, if you're telling me that you're under the age of 18 or even 17, you won't get charged as much as an individual above it, but you're doing more heinous crime than a person would do if he was more grown up because of that. That means that those limits must be lowered. And I say that to say there must be disciplinary actions when it comes to heinous crimes, correct? Tell me if I'm wrong, man. If you got kids out here with a Glock switchy in Chicago, you know what I'm saying, and drilling on they ops, and he just happened to be 12, 13 years old, we gonna send him to juvenile? Cool, he gets sent to juvenile, then he going to the big people. He getting big people charges, bro. Right. I know too many women at my job simply that have children in jail currently right now. And then sometimes I ask questions on how you raise them. Oh, they can smoke. They've been chilling. They buying gun parts offline. Like, come on, man. And the first thing raised in my head is where that daddy at? Because that daddy gonna enforce that. I hope, at least in my eyes, I would expect that, right? Because basically these kids are being disciplined. They feel like he can do anything, and a wild child is like a wild dog. You get what I'm saying? It seems not like a problem to the owner until it bites someone else that it's not the owner. Then everybody else is looking at it like, damn, contain your dog because your dog out of place. Contain your kids. Your kids out of line. Your kids didn't kill somebody else, and now we gotta either recommend this dog, neuter, whatever, spade, cut, you know what I'm saying, train them, or put them down. So that's the same concept with this, you gotta always blame the owner. You gotta always blame the parent on why things like this is going on in our society at the moment. So, speaking of like this, yes, I think honestly, before all this, I like to blame the adults, the mothers, the fathers, and then you got to get back into the nitty gritty of that, right? Why we don't have a nuclear family and what's causing a nuclear family. Are the women leaving the men? Are the men leaving the women? That's causing the children to be degenerate and are harming each other. So now you got to hit them with more heinous crimes because obviously the parents aren't disciplining these children. And if that's the case, if the children aren't being disciplined by the parents, then that leads it up to the state to discipline these children, right? That's all I could tell. Like I even in myself, I feel like if you spank your child, you're leaving it up to the government to do such thing because if your kid doesn't see disciplinary in his actions, then his actions can be done freely as much as he wants to do. So what happens when he actually meets somebody that is more authoritative than his own father or his mother, which is the U.S. government itself? And they're not going to have you a slap on the wrist. They're going to beat your ass, hopefully, if you did, depending on your crime. Depending on what you did. They're going to throw you in jail, give you a sentence, take your life, bro. And that's something that your parents can't save you from. And I think that the juveniles know this, but they don't care because their mindset is on some GTA shit because that's their generation. But then again, they don't respect authority at the same time. So what is the solution? Me personally, and this is my personal take, I think that we should just bring back certain penalizations for anything. It doesn't matter. There's no age limit. It doesn't matter that you're a 12-year-old that just committed this crime. It doesn't matter that you're a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old that committed this crime. If you are from the ages of 10 to adult, nigga, you getting the same charges. Facts. That's how I'm coming. That's how I'm coming. Because if you man enough or woman enough to pick up a pistol And it depends. There's certain instances where there's accidents and you didn't know better. But if it's purposely done and maliciously intent, then yeah, juveniles, you need to get the same sentence. You could be a 12-year-old, doesn't matter. What about all the killers and the 3 black kids that killed those people in Florida? Like the only one that didn't get the life sentence was the one that was the 12-year-old. He got 40-year sentence. Still is most of his life, but due to the fact of his age. But he knew what he did when he killed that person. He knew exactly what he did. And they thought they can get away with it. See, that was the foolish part of the situation. Not knowing that when you're doing certain crime, you got to fight against people that spend billions of dollars to find you niggas. Like, think about it. It's like the cartel. If you're going to traffic drugs, at least have the same technology that the opposition, which is the U.S. government, is using against you, right? If not, then they're going to find you because you're not equipped with the same type of tech or knowledge that they got to get you. It's like you running in a circle, right? Like a treadmill. That being said, man, y'all tell me what y'all think about this situation, man. Juvenile rates going up. This is just in South Carolina. Tell me what you think about in your city. In Chicago, man, the juveniles going crazy. Even out in the burbs, in Aurora, they going nuts. Like all these kids trying to make an image for themselves don't realize what's going to happen is you just feeding back into the system. Since you feeding back into the system, you just going to be into somebody jail cell doing what? Chilling. That's why they call them YNs. They call them YNs because they crash outs, bro. Leave them alone because they don't give a damn about nothing. They don't care about their life. They don't care about your life, and they'll serve the time. And this is we've always had crash outs every generation, but these generations, these crash out with Glocky switches, bro. Yes, these are crash outs with certain weapon arsenary. They got in their inventory. They got all types of weapons. Boy, you think this is Call of Duty for real? Then they make a video about it on the ops block. You hear me? Spit on the grave, blow the grave. I just told somebody this today. They'll shoot the grave through the dirt to the casket, G. Put some dynamite in a hole and blow the casket out the flow just to hit their ops back, G. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's how serious this shit is getting. These basically kids, I would say kids because they talking about 10 and 19 years old. I'm 28. So I know these kids, bro, and they just throwing their life away. Some of them gonna get away, some of them ain't gonna get away, and most of them ain't gonna get away. And the ones that don't get away is gonna be charged, and life gonna be taken forever. But then again, like you said, they okay with getting out of jail at 50, 60 years old after they committed a crime, caught a couple hats, and that's cool, do your thing. But it comes with consequences, and now who you blame? The parents. I blame lack of religion, lack of village, lack of stability, financials, because that gives that person a lack of leadership. That's what I'm gonna blame right there. Lack of leadership, and that starts with the parents right there. And it ain't the parent that left, it's the parent that stayed and took care of them, because that's the one that has influence over that child the most. It's your boy Angelo Savage. Tell me what y'all think about this situation, about the juveniles. Do you think that the juveniles should get a more harsher sentence, even at the age of 10? Or give me a range if you think a different range is adequate. I think that there's another range that we can look at. You know, it doesn't have to be 10 years old to 19. I think, well, anyway, if you're 17, 16, anything above 12, bro, 12 and up, if you did any heinous crime, you get charged as an adult. That's how I'm coming, bro. And if you did a super heinous crime, bro, it's time for that needle. You hear me? That's how I'm coming now, for real. It's your boy Angelo Savage. Tell me what y'all think about that in the comment section for real. Don't forget to subscribe, my boy. Peace.